Welcome to Horror Echo, where the shadows whisper and the unknown comes alive. I'm your name, and tonight, we delve into the darkest corners of fear with our latest tale. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss a chilling episode. Prepare yourself for a journey into the eerie and the unsettling. This is Horror Echo, and the nightmare begins now. Kabir had always dismissed the notion of sleep paralysis as little more than a modern myth. To him, it was just another tale designed to scare the easily spooked. When his cousin recounted his experiences with sleep paralysis, how it felt like being awake but trapped in an immobile body, paralyzed by unseen forces, Kabir had only half listened, shaking his head with amused skepticism. His curiosity was limited to the occasional internet search and the dismissive thoughts he entertained about the phenomenon. But that indifference was about to be shattered in the most terrifying way possible. The apartment. Kabir and Vanch's apartment was a small, cluttered space in a rundown building near their college campus. The 1 BHK flat, with its peeling paint and creaky floorboards, was a far cry from comfortable. They had long abandoned the small bedroom, opting instead to transform the living room into their primary hangout and sleeping area. The space was dominated by 2 large mattresses pushed together, leaving a narrow passage in between where they often ate their meals. The floor was a constant battlefield of discarded food wrappers, spilled drinks, and persistent stains of curry and dal that seemed to defy cleaning. The apartment was a reflection of their carefree student lifestyle, untidy, chaotic, and lived in. Their laziness was evident in every corner, from the dust-covered shelves to the unwashed dishes piled in the sink. Kabir and Vanch had perfected the art of procrastination, reserving cleaning duties for the weekends, if they managed to get around to it at all. The argument. One evening, Geet, their overbearing neighbor who frequently borrowed sugar, stormed into their apartment with a look of exasperation. His patience had worn thin after months of dealing with the mess that greeted him every time he visited. "Why don't you guys ever clean up after yourselves?" Geet's voice was a mix of frustration and disgust as he pointed to the unsightly smears of food on the floor. Kabir, already on edge from Geet's relentless intrusions, shot back, "I want this room cleaned up. We've had enough of this mess." Vanch, never one to miss an opportunity to needle Geet, added, "Considering how often you've been mooching off us lately, I think you owe us a good cleaning." Geet's face flushed with anger. "You guys are unbelievable. I'm done with this." With that, he stormed out, slamming the door behind him. Kabir and Vanch exchanged relieved glances, their irritation fading into a sense of victory. "Oh, thank you, Lord," Vanch exclaimed, raising his arms in a dramatic gesture of relief. Kabir, with a smirk, added, "Please, don't come back." The knock. Just as they were preparing to wind down for the night, a sudden knock on the door startled them. Kabir's immediate thought was that Geet had returned, likely for more sugar. "That damned Geet. Don't answer it," Vanch grumbled. "Yeah, we need to hide the stash," Kabir agreed, heading towards the door with a sigh of annoyance. He opened the door to find the corridor empty. Geet's apartment, directly across the hall, was dark, and Kabir could see Geet lounging on his bed through the window, engrossed in a television show. "Yeah, we need to hide the stash," Kabir agreed, heading towards the door with a sigh of annoyance. He opened the door to find the corridor empty. Geet's apartment, directly across the hall, was dark, and Kabir could see Geet lounging on his bed through the window, engrossed in a television show. "What the hell?" Kabir muttered, bewildered. He closed the door and turned back to Vanch. "Who was it?" Vanch asked, looking up with curiosity. "No one," Kabir replied, though uncertainty tinged his voice. "Probably Geet again," Vanch shrugged it off. Kabir, still feeling uneasy, tried to dismiss the incident as he crawled back into bed. The sleep paralysis episode. The apartment was shrouded in darkness, illuminated only by the faint glow of the streetlights filtering through the window. The fan above provided a steady, rhythmic hum. It was around 3 a.m. when Kabir's senses began to distort, blending the line between dreams and reality. A strange, slurping noise seeped into his consciousness, dragging him from the depths of slumber. It sounded as if something was being licked with a slow, deliberate motion. Kabir's initial thought was that it was part of a dream, but as he attempted to wake, he found his body unresponsive. His back pressed firmly against the mattress, his arms resting immobile on his chest, and his face turned upward towards the ceiling. Despite the fan's gentle breeze, he felt a growing discomfort. Kabir's attempts to move were futile. His limbs felt as though they were encased in lead, unable to lift or shift. The slurping sound grew louder, and Kabir could feel a cold, almost imperceptible breath against his skin. The noise seemed to emanate from his right side, where Vanch was sleeping. Kabir's mind raced as he wondered if it was Vanch making the sound. He struggled to turn his head and see what was happening, but an invisible force seemed to pin him down. His attempts to roll over were met with resistance, and the strength he took pride in from his workouts proved useless against this unseen force. Panic surged through him as he tried to lift his arms, only to find them glued to his sides. The sensation of being completely immobilized was both terrifying and disorienting. The slurping noise intensified, its rhythm interrupted by brief periods of silence, as if something was shifting or moving around. Kabir's fear grew with each passing moment. The sensation of cold, invisible presence hovering near him was overwhelming, and he felt an icy dread seep into his bones. The unsettling awakening. After what seemed like an eternity, Kabir began to feel a gradual release of the paralysis. His muscles twitched, and he could sense control returning to his body. Slowly, he turned his head, his heart pounding in his chest. To his immense relief, he saw Vanch sleeping soundly, his back turned towards Kabir. The slurping noise had stopped, and the room was silent. Kabir, still shaken, turned back to his bed and pulled the sheets over him, trying to comfort himself. He struggled to dismiss the terrifying experience as a mere nightmare, though the vividness of it made it difficult to shake off. The morning after. The next morning, Vanch's loud voice cut through Kabir's lingering unease. "Wake up, sleepyhead. You've overslept. Time to get moving," he called out, his tone a mix of urgency and irritation. Kabir, groggy and disoriented from the night's events, rolled over and stretched. As Vanch moved about the apartment with his usual speed, he paused to point at a spot on the floor with his toothbrush. "Hey, weren't we supposed to clean this place during the weekend?" Kabir's eyes followed Vanch's gesture, and he was struck with a jolt of shock. The floor, once covered in stains and grime, was now spotless. Every trace of the mess had vanished, leaving the area clean and tidy. A cold shiver ran down Kabir's spine as he remembered the previous night's ordeal. The slurping sound, the sensation of being held captive, everything felt too real to be a mere illusion. The sudden appearance of the clean floor only added to his growing sense of dread. Kabir's mind raced with questions. Had he truly experienced a sleep paralysis episode, or was there something more sinister lurking in their apartment? The boundary between reality and nightmare had blurred, leaving him with an unsettling fear of the unknown. As Kabir tried to come to terms with what had happened, he couldn't shake the feeling that something dark and inexplicable had visited him during the night. The cold, unsettling sensation of the lick still haunted him, a chilling reminder of the terror he had endured. The experience had left a lasting mark on his psyche, and he couldn't help but wonder if the apartment held more secrets than he had ever imagined. You've just experienced another spine-tingling story from Horror Echo. If the shadows left you breathless, don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with fellow thrill seekers. For more tales that haunt your dreams, make sure to subscribe and join our growing community of horror enthusiasts. Until next time, remember, the echoes of terror are always closer than you think. Stay haunted.